Fella over here with the eyebrow down for a drink can understand what's going on, right? I know who it is. You don't need an agent. See? You like that? See? I wouldn't make an idiot out of you. I wouldn't interfere with nature. Bloke over here said, he's ever got that prick over there, you know? It's hanging out of his collar. It's like the two Negroes over in America having a chat, and he said, what are you doing these days, man? He said, I am an executive in a sewer. He said, what do you do? I said, I get a bucket, I scrape it off the wall, I fill the bucket, and I give it to the next man. He says, how does that make you an executive? He said, I don't have to take no shit from nobody. Including you. Shut up and you'll learn something. I'm going to tell you your name in a minute. You're finally going to find out who Mum and Dad are. You thought Dad was some sailors. I wish you were a statue and I was a pigeon. Only I think somebody beat me. Never got the fucking village idiot. There's only two in the village and he got the prize. Had a beauty contest once and nobody won. You blokes may have heard me a little earlier on. I was out in the toilet there. No, I was trying, really. I was doing my best, but I haven't fired a shot for about 4 days. It was me putting the teeth marks on the back of the door. Next thing, the cubicle next door to me banged open and the bloke went... Laugh your luck! Laugh your own, I didn't get me trousers off. I'll talk about drunks for a while. How's that? I love talking... No, you don't have to go, sir. Just because I'm going to talk about drunks. There are so many things you can talk about. Like, there's two drunks at a bar having a little discussion. I can't stay much longer, mate. I'm going down to Melbourne on the train at 7 o'clock this evening. His mate said, why don't you go on the plane? 1 hour on the T-jet. And you're in Melbourne. No, so I'd rather go on the train. Them planes crash all the time. They go... He said, I'd rather go on the train, it's a lot safer. His mate said, didn't you read about the train crash in the paper yesterday? 121 people killed. He said, shit, no, what happened? He said, a plane hit it. That's like the bloke has been coming home 20 years of his married life, 7 nights a week, full as a boot. Staggering in the front door and his missus is standing there and she said, drunk again. He says, me too. She said, what do you mean by coming home here at this hour of the morning? He said, it's the only joint that's still open. She said, you haven't got any money left. What have you done with all of your money? He said, I bought something for the house. She said, what? He said, a round of drinks. She enough. She said, that's the finish. For 20 years, 7 nights a week, I've put up with you coming home here drunk. Disgustingly drunk. I'm going to show you just how stupid you've looked for 20 years, full. She went to the cupboard, she got out a bottle of raw whiskey. Now, she had never taken a drink in her life before. She was an absolute teetotaler. Filled up a schooner glass right to the top with this raw booze. She looked at it, she looked at the old man, and she said, now, this is how stupid you've looked for 20 years, full. And she dropped it down in one gulp. She dropped the glass, she collapsed to the floor, she was writhing around, coughing and spluttering, nearly choking herself to death. She looked down at her husband and she said, Ralph, how can you stand this vile stuff? He said, see, you thought I was out having a bloody good time every night, didn't you? Naturally, they finished up in the divorce court. And in the divorce court, the judge turned to this bloke and he said, I'm going to grant this divorce. And what's more, I'm going to give your wife $150 a week alimony. He said, that's darn nice of you. I'll try and slip her a couple of dollars myself. Oh, it's all right. While you're coming up with a drink, I'll fill in with my trombone. What? Interpretation. Interpretation of what? Oh, interpretation of singing. Very good. You don't want any impressions or impersonations, you want an interpretation. What? Oh, well, stand up and let's have a look. They just want to see if you're as tall as your mouth. Gentlemen and Lurch, you still haven't found your tray. Oh, here he comes again. Look, he's doing a lap of honour. Over there, over there. Oh, look, he's finally found the bar. Oh, you bought me a glass for me drink. Very good. It's a tall penguin. You like little stories about bars and all. What about this bloke? This bloke went into a bar with one ear. And the barman said, do you want a drink? He said, I got one ear. What about the bloke went into a pub and he's got a sponge cake up here and a jelly up there. So he went into the bar, and the barman said, do you want a drink? And he said, what? He's got a sponge up here and a jelly up there. He said, you want a drink? He said, what? Sponge up against this ear and a jelly up against the other ear. He said, do you want a drink? He said, you'll have to speak up, I'm a trifle deaf. didn't say they were going to be all gems, did I? The kids know everything. What about little boy 5? His little mate, he said, my brother can run the 100 yards in 6 seconds flat. And he said, the world record's 9.3. He said, my brother knows a shortcut. All you got to do is listen to kids. They know everything. Linda Lovelace's mother went down on the Titanic. How I love to feel your organ. I don't want you to think that I'm some sort of a religious crank, but I have studied the workings of a monastery to some depth. In a monastery every day they go through a certain procedure whereby the abbot comes into the abbey and all the monks sit around something like this without the piss, and the abbot chants to the monks and the monks chant back at the abbot. And normally it goes like this. The abbot comes and he goes, good morning, monks. And all the monks sit down and they go, good morning, master. And it's a daily ritual. And the abbot comes in one day and he goes, good morning, monks. And all the monks went, good morning, master. And one voice came through louder than all the rest and went, good evening, master. And the abbot thought, there's some bastard having a go at me. I'll try him again. So he went, good morning, monks. And they all went, good morning, master. And this voice came boring through again and went, good evening, master. And the abbot turned around and he said, some enchanted evening. Oh, I got to set this little scene. Little scene from King's Cross. One of those places where all the Sheilas work. And according to the police, they don't exist. It's like the old-time Sheila from the Cross. Walking down the street and there's a young bloke coming towards us. He says, hey, dearie, how do you come home and sleep with me for the night? He said, I've only got 20 cents. I got change. That's like the elephant. The elephant and the snake are going through the jungle, and the elephant said, what do you want to do today? And the snake said, well, I don't care. Would you like a game of snooker? And the elephant said, how do you play that? And the snake said, prop there. So the elephant propped, and the snake went up his front leg, in through his mouth and out through his kyber. And the elephant said, what happened? And the snake said, I potted a red. And the elephant said, what are you going to do now? Oh, so I'm going to have a go at the black. Lay your trunk down. The elephant put his trunk down on the ground, and the snake went straight up through his trunk, straight through and out of his kyber. And the elephant said, what happened? Oh, so I just potted the black. He said, what are you going to do now? He said, I'm going to have a go at another red. So he went up the elephant's front leg, in through his mouth. The elephant rolled his trunk up, stuck it in his mouth, stuck his tail down over his arse. He said, there, are you bastard, you're snookered. Fancy having a businessmen's club here at Bankstown. You've got accountants. Now, you all know what an accountant is. That's the bloke who opens the sheet, looks over the figure, makes an entry and waits for the monthly report. Or two businessmen on the Gold Coast. One bloke said to his mate, he said, "What are you doing up here this time of the year?" He said, "Well," he said, "you wouldn't believe it." He said, "My factory got gutted by fire." He said, "and I got a $3 million settlement, and I've come up here to the Gold Coast to retire." Anyway, what are you doing up here this time of the year? He said, "Well, you wouldn't believe this." He said, "My joint got completely flooded out. Completely. By flood." And he said, "I got a $12 million settlement." And the first bloke said, "How do you start a flood?" Oh, that's a bit close to the knuckle, isn't it? Oh, look, he's found his tray. Mudguard's found his tray, fellas. Nice. Ah, there you go. This bloke owns a used car yard, and the cars are going off one by one. So he said to his head salesman, he said, "Look," he said, "go down to the dog pound and get us a good dog to protect the cars." So the bloke goes down to Yagoona. And he said to the bloke, he said, "I want a good dog to protect the cars." And the bloke said, "Well, look," he said, "you can have this one over here." And here's this little poodle about that big. He said, "Oh, ace it up." He said, I've had Alsatians and German Shepherds and Dobermans in the yard for weeks." He said, "You're going to try and give me this little bloody poodle?" He said, "Don't knock him, mate. He's a karate expert." He said, "You're kidding." He said, "Watch this." He said, "Oi! Karate that chair." And the poodle went up with its front paw and went, "Hi, hi, hi, ha!" And the chair went, "Phoom!" And the bloke said, "Shit." He said, "Can I see that again?" He said, "Yes." Said the poodle, "Karate that table." And the poodle went, "Hi, hi, hi, ha!" He said, "How much do you want for him?" He said, "Well, with the Alsatian as a trade-in." "Give us $5 and you got him." So he traded the Alsatian, give the bloke $5, went back to Jack. He said, "I've got the dog for you, Jack. A ripper, going to protect the whole yard." Jack said, "Bring him in." He said, "He's in, he's down by your feet." And Jack looked down at the little poodle. He said, "You're kidding." He said, "Don't knock him, Jack. He's a karate expert." And Jack said, "Karate my ass." I've got to tell you this one. There's a bloke up before the beak. And the beak said, "Now, before I pass sentence, has the prisoner at the bar anything to say for himself?" And the prisoner at the bar stood up and he said, "Fuck all, Your Honour." And the judge calls the clerk of the court over and he said, "What did he say?" And the clerk of the court said, "He said, fuck all, Your Honour." That's funny, I swore I saw his mouth move.